Hello and welcome to Zestology, the podcast all about energy, vitality and motivation. I'm Tony Wrighton, walking around a damp, chilly and fairly windy London, so I hope it's not too windy for you to listen to. This podcast is all about anti-aging. It's about feeling and looking younger, with Dr. Amy Killen, who is one of the most well-respected experts in the area of anti-aging. And I've heard her talk before, and I've heard other podcasts with her, and I'm really pleased that she's now come on Zestology. She is involved in some of the most cutting edge and advanced therapies for anti-aging, as you will hear. If you're someone who might have been interested in botox in the past, but not really because it contains rat poison, well, you might be interested in some of the solutions that Dr. Amy has got for us. I am. Still not quite sure. I might be booking myself in for a vampire facial at some point. Or not. You'll have to listen to this because vampire facials are on the menu. Along with stem cells in the face, the body, and even, as you'll hear, in the penis. I won't be getting that one, but you'll be hearing about a man who has, from Dr. Amy Killen in this podcast. So it's really enjoyable on the anti-aging theme, and I hope you find this useful. This podcast is all about energy, vitality and motivation, and anti-aging, and especially feeling good once you get older and as you age is definitely a part of that formula. So enjoy Dr. Amy Killen on Zestology.
So my name is Amy Killen, MD, and I'm a medical doctor. I have a history. I used to be an ER doctor, which I did for about 10 years. But over the last 5 years, I had transitioned into doing integrative and anti-aging and regenerative medicine, which are a bunch of kind of fancy words for basically kind of taking a whole body approach to medicine. I have a couple of different clinics, and we do integrative medicine, we do hormones, we do skin health, we do stem cells, we do a lot of sexual health. So it's kind of a lot of things, but basically kind of whole person health, using sort of some of the newer integrative medicine approaches.
Yeah, there's some fascinating stuff you're getting into, and I first heard about you from Dave Asprey, who's been on Zestology a few times, and
yes,
you were the lucky person. I don't know if lucky is quite the right word, but you were the lucky person who got to inject stem cells into his penis.
I did. Yes, I was the lucky gal who got to inject the stem cells, and I got to have him surprise me by filming the whole thing and have a camera in my face, and it was very confusing for me. But yes, I've treated Dave a couple of times. And he's always a lot of fun, and his wife is great as well. So it's been really cool to get to hang out with those guys.
Yeah. So I mean, stem cells might be quite a good place to start then, because it seems like that is the kind of thing that you're doing, and it is very cutting edge, isn't it? I mean, this is cutting edge treatment that every year is becoming cheaper and more accessible.
Yeah, it is cutting edge. I mean, certainly every year it's changing, and the things we can do are changing. I do both stem cells, which usually the stem cells we do are stem cells derived from the patient's fat. So we do like a little bitty baby liposuction, get some fat, and then from the fat, we'll isolate the stem cells, and we can use those stem cells kind of all different places of the body. We can also combine those with the Platelet-Rich-Plasma, or PRP, which we get from the patient's blood. So for all of my procedures, I'll put those together, because it's kind of like the seeds of the garden plus the fertilizer in the garden. You put them together, and then you can do all kinds of things. So I do a lot of aesthetics. I do facial injections for skin rejuvenation. I do hair injections for hair restoration, and then I do all the sexual optimization, the P shot for men and the O shot for women, but also with stem cells, not just PRP.
Oh my God, there's so much we need to talk about here. So let's start. Yeah, that's like there's a lot of questions arriving from that. So so the stem cells, you take the stem cells out. And how does it help with anti-aging? Break it down, kind of stem cells 101, because I feel like of all the listeners listening to this right now, probably not one person has had that procedure yet.
Yeah. So, your stem cells are the cells in your body that are already there that are responsible for tissue regeneration. So they're responsible for upkeep of your organs, making sure that they can divide. They can also give rise to other types of cells. So they're very specific cells that have these functions that are very special in your body. But as we get older, you start to lose some of your stem cells, or they start to kind of become a little bit lazier. They're not like regenerating tissue as much. Your skin gets, kind of older and more wrinkly, and your collagen's not being made as much. And this happens, on every organ in your body. So the idea behind stem cell therapy is that we can take stem cells from somewhere where you have a high number of them, like your fat, that are just kind of sitting there, and we can concentrate them and then put them back somewhere else where we actually really want to have an increased amount of tissue regeneration. So regeneration meaning just kind of making your tissue and organs more youthful. So for skin, for instance, you put your stem cells in the skin, and you can see increased production of collagen, which is a really important support structure for your skin, and elastin, which gives your skin the bounce back and the elasticity, and blood flow and things like that. So you can put the stem cells all different areas. Certainly they've been used for joints and musculoskeletal pain a lot. That's a big indication for them. You could even just put them in an IV, and then they can kind of go anywhere in your body, and they can home in on areas of inflammation and areas where you might need a little extra kind of pick me up.
Because I met Dr. John Gray a little while back, the author of Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, and he's had stem cells. Did you do his stem cell injections?
No, I didn't do his, but I know of him, of course.
Yeah, and he's had them in his knee, and I think he was like raving about it. So this is anti-aging. Let's talk about the face in particular then, because I know that a lot of people kind of think, well, Botox isn't quite for me, and apparently it's rat poison and all the rest of it. But stem cells, that sounds. This is a natural. You're just injecting your own body into you, aren't you?
You are. Stem cells are great. I do all different kinds of treatments. I do, I think that Botox has a place, not for everyone. Certainly some people don't like it, but it works in a way to help prevent wrinkles, because it stops those muscles from moving. Things like fillers, they also have a place by restoring volume. Stem cells work more on improving the skin health itself. So it's a little different than some of the other therapies out there, in that you're looking to improve, like for instance, it makes your tissue, your skin more youthful appearing. Maybe your pores shrink, the texture improves, the color's a little better, the pigment is more even. Your skin can become a little thicker in the areas where it's thinned out. So it's really more of making your skin look more youthful, but it doesn't necessarily do all of the things that everything else does. Like, it's not going to stop you from wrinkling or making your, the little crow's feet around your eyes. But it does help a lot with skin health.
And then, right, it's a mild effect, is it? If you use it on the face.
It's mild. It's a slow kind of effect too. That's the only, it's kind of, you have to be kind of patient with these treatments. You do it, and then you got to wait, months before you start to really see. Usually at least 4 to 6 weeks before you start to see any benefit, because it's a regenerative thing. Like, you're actually triggering your body to make more of this, the things that it's already making, the collagen and elastin and all these things, but it doesn't happen overnight. So it's a slow process that can continue out for 6 months or a year, of this kind of slow regenerative thing. So it's one of those things, if you look in the mirror every day, you're not seeing this immediate change, but if you look in the mirror from, day 1 to 6 months later, then you can see improvements.
It literally is a kind of Benjamin Button style. Yeah, kind of, isn't it?
It is. It's funny, when I did Dave Asprey the first time for his facial injections. We did his injections, and then I saw him again. It was months later at Bulletproof 2016, and I don't know if it was just the stem cells. He does all kinds of things, I know, but his skin looked amazing. It really was like his skin had gone back in time, with this glow to him that I had not seen before. So that's kind of the thing that we really expect and hope to get out of these treatments.
That is part of the reason I wanted to speak to you, because I met him this year and we recorded a podcast at the Bulletproof conference this year. And I know you were there, although you and I didn't get to meet then. And he looks so young compared to, I saw him 9 months before that in Seattle, and I don't know what you've done to him, but yeah, it's pretty impressive actually. But I'm kind of disappointed. So it's not the new Botox. It's not like a healthy Botox.
It's not the nude Botox. I mean, Botox is a different mechanism and does different things. You certainly don't have to have Botox by any means, but it's not the exact same as Botox.
Yeah. Okay. Now, what is a vampire facial?
A vampire facial is using platelet-rich plasma, which is we get some growth factors from your blood, which are stored in your platelets, and then we use those. So it's not necessarily stem cells, but what PRP or platelet-rich plasma does is it kind of fertilizes your stem cells or activates your own stem cells. So you get those, and you do injections in the face, and then you also do microneedling, where you take a little device that has little bitty needles that go in about 2 millimeters to get those platelets into your face. So it's basically a skin rejuvenation procedure that's activating your own stem cells in your skin to then start to increase collagen and elastin and blood flow and the same kinds of things.
Okay, so are you taking stem cells again for the vampire facial?
You're not. You're just taking blood. I mean, there are some stem cells in your blood, but for the most part, you're just using your platelets in your blood and the growth factors in the platelets to apply them to your skin.
Yeah, right. And then you spin the blood, do you?
You do. You spin the blood, and that's how you get the platelets. You isolate them and you concentrate them so that you have about 6 or 7 times as many platelets in the serum that you're going to use versus in your whole blood. And that little kind of magic mix is your PRP, and that's what you're going to be using for the vampire facial and facelift.
And presumably this area, research, development and advances are just happening all the time. Like it's, even like if people are listening to this in 6 months' time, probably new stuff has happened.
There's so much new stuff. And that's what's so fun about this field of medicine. I go to conferences, every couple of months and meet people who are doing amazing things. And there's so many different types of stem cell products that are being developed right now. There's different, there's umbilical cells, there's exosomes, which are there's all this fancy stuff that's coming out that is kind of coming down the pike. And I think eventually and hopefully it happens that these treatments allow more people to be able to experience the benefits of stem cell therapy without as much of a cost, because these are very expensive treatments currently, but they can be so beneficial. So I think as time goes on, we'll be able to get them out to more people.
Yeah, and just going back to the vampire facial again, so then it goes into is it a similar effect to the stem cells? It's a kind of mild rejuvenative effect that happens over time?
Yes, it's very similar to the stem cells. So same kind of thing. It's easier in that you're just getting your blood versus having to actually do a little liposuction, but it's similar kind of effect.
Wow. And do you do this stuff?
On myself, you mean?
Yeah, or do you get someone else to do it for you?
Yes, I do. I've had, I'm kind of a big self-experimenter. Pretty much everything I've done for my patients, I've done on myself at least 1 or 12 times.
Fantastic. Yeah. Okay. So, right, I've got them on my list for things I want to do, the vampire facial and the stem cells. Just one more question on not necessarily the stem cells and the penis, but I remember asking Dave about it, and he said, well, if you want to be young, you want to be young everywhere. Is it the same effect wherever you put it? Like, let's say you have a dodgy knee, you put the stem cells in and you wait a little while, and it starts to help cell regrowth.
Yeah, exactly. So in the knees and joints and other areas, musculoskeletal tendons, things like that, it's the same kind of idea. Mostly you're trying to increase blood flow and increase blood vessel formation in areas that maybe have poor blood flow. But there are some studies that show healing of cartilage and even some nerve regeneration, depending on where you put them and what the initial problem was.
One of the supplements that I like, and funnily enough, I found has really helped with hay fever, and that is colostrum. So it's a cow colostrum supplement. I buy it from Thrival, and I take it through the spring. And my hay fever has gone from like a kind of 9 out of 10 to about a 1 out of 10.
Wow.
It's crazy. Yeah. Actually, I think even more than that, the keto diet has helped with that. But
yes,
you're on the ketogenic diet as well, aren't you?
I am, yeah. I've just, I've only been doing it a few months, but I've advocated for sort of paleo diets for a long time for my patients, but it's only been in the last few months that I started doing keto myself and got my husband on it, and I have several friends on it, and I've been kind of spreading the word. But I'm a big fan. I think it's been really great.
Mm. And one of the things when I was reading about colostrum, because I like to do my research and find any risks as well as benefits, one of the things that people aren't quite sure about with colostrum is if you take something which is so good at kind of regenerating the body, if you take it all year round, could there be a risk of kind of increasing the possibility of cancer because it's encouraging cell growth so much. Is there any danger with that in terms of stem cells?
Not that's been seen. With all the stem cell treatments that we do, which are all using adult-derived stem cells, so it's stem cells from adults or umbilical stem cells. But basically, as long as you're not using embryonic stem cells are obviously from embryos, and those are the ones that have been shown to be able to transform into different kinds of cancers sometimes. But so far, in the other stem cell studies, we're not seeing any increases in cancer risk.
So, I mean, it was very helpful. Before we chatted, you were really helpful. You sent me quite a long email with all the stuff that you're into. And you're into a lot of stuff. It's really quite interesting how many different areas of interest that you've developed. And you said you like to try out this stuff yourself. What's your personal favourite of everything that you kind of practice on your patients or you've tried out?
Oh my gosh, I'm developing different favorites every day. I'm a big fan of all the aesthetic treatments because I can do them on myself pretty easily. I've also become a big fan, at least for my patients, oh shoot.
You okay?
Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can see. I mean, listeners won't be able to see this, but you're going walkabout while we're talking. It's very exciting.
Sorry, my internet was doing crazy things, but hopefully it's back.
Oh, yeah. No, you didn't cut out at all, so don't worry.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
So my favorites for myself are all the aesthetic treatments, but for my patients, my favorite things right now are some of the new sexual optimization treatments. The shockwave therapy for men with erectile dysfunction or Gainswave therapy is amazing, and some of the vaginal lasers, and then combining that with the stem cells and the PRP are pretty incredible, and I'm really loving those for all my patients.
Wow. I mean, again, there's just questions that need to be asked here. What did he say? Well, shockwave therapy. I mean, for erectile dysfunction, I'm wincing just thinking about it.
Yes. No, it's great. So there is shockwave therapy has been around. Our low intensity extracorporeal shockwave therapy, that's the long name for it, has been around for about 10 years, and there are over 40 studies in Europe. And basically, in the U.S., I use a protocol called Gainswave, which has been amazing. And basically, we have this device where we just send these sound waves down into the penis. We do maybe 6 or so treatments on a guy, and with those treatments, the sound waves actually trigger all kinds of things. They break up the little plaque in the blood vessels of the penis to increase blood flow. They increase blood vessel formation. They increase the local nitric oxide formation, which is really important for opening up the blood vessels and getting the blood where it needs to go. It helps recruit stem cells. So essentially, you have this huge improvement in performance and erections, sometimes in guys who didn't even have erections, or they had them but they just weren't as good as they wanted. And we can actually regenerate that tissue just using sound waves.
That's absolutely incredible. The potential for sound, I think, is one of the things that over the next 10, 20 years is actually quite scary, because sound can be used in a bad way as well as a good way, but there's so much you can do with it.
Yeah, sound and light. I mean, light, all the light therapies that are out there are amazing. Yeah. There's so much cool stuff.
There is. We'll come on to light therapy in a second. So, okay, that's for men. And you mentioned women as well. This is because I follow you on Instagram. I see all kinds of things going on.
Random pictures of things.
I know. What are you doing for women as well? Which I guess you would call this anti-aging as well, wouldn't you?
It is, and people don't think about sexual health as being sort of one of the big parts of anti-aging. But I feel like if you want to live, 30 years longer or 50 years longer or whatever, and you want to be healthy, let's keep the sexual health part going as well. Otherwise, it's not going to be as much fun.
Yeah, totally agree.
But for men, just to get back to men real quick, I do the Gainswave, I do the PRP and the stem cell injection, so the P shot with the Gainswave, and then I also do a lot of hormone optimization.
What's this P shot?
So the P shot is what I did for Dave Asprey. That's where we put the PRP into the penis, and we're doing it's injections basically. So I'll do that with the Gainswave, together, oftentimes in the same day.
Right.
And then I also do a lot of hormones and a lot of nutritional counseling and things like that for sexual health for men, and it works amazingly.
And with hormones, by the way, I mean, I've spoken to people who say that there's certain supplements you can take if you want to increase your testosterone, which are completely natural. There's Tonkat Ali, which is like some kind of Indonesian root, and there's pine pollen, and there's things like that. And I've tried a couple of them. I've found actually in the gym, I've found some of them work quite well. And with libido as well, probably a little bit too. Is that the kind of thing? Is that the kind of thing you're talking about?
So I certainly do some of that. I do some supplemental kind of stuff. But if people who actually have legitimate low testosterone, I think that there's a lot of benefit to doing testosterone therapy or other medications that can increase testosterone. I'm a big believer in having at least normal levels of testosterone. And we're seeing more and more over the last 50 years that men's testosterone is starting to go down.
Yeah.
Probably from all the environmental, toxins and endocrine disruptors and things that are out there. So I do feel like there's a place for testosterone therapy and medications that can increase testosterone, and that there's actually some really legitimate health benefits to doing so beyond just sex drive, libido, erections, that kind of thing.
Yeah. And then for women, what are the kind of, because I know you've got quite a few different sexual rejuvenation techniques, regenerative therapies, I think you call them.
So for women, I do, again, a couple of different things. The hormone piece is really important for women as well. I also do vaginal lasers. I have a vaginal laser that we do that's amazing for all different things. And then I also do the O shot, which is the orgasm shot, which is similar to the P shot. I know.
That's amazing. I mean, what a brilliant name for a therapy. I mean, that's just amazing.
Yeah, so that's the same. It's like the male version. It's the female version of the P shot, but it's PRP, platelet-rich-plasma, injected down into the women's genitalia. We can do stem cells with that as well, which I'll do sometimes, and then I'll do the vaginal lasers also. So I do kind of all of those things, oftentimes in concert, and get amazing results.
Yeah, brilliant. I thought we might just need to go back to the orgasm shot a sec. I mean, is it literally does it do what it says on the tin?
It does. The injections we actually do, this may be too graphic for you, but we do 2 injections, one into the vaginal wall and one into the clitoris itself. So you could imagine, you got increased sensitivity, increased blood flow, increased lubrication, increased pleasure, better orgasm, etc.
Yeah. Well, this podcast is all about energy and vitality, and I really do genuinely think this all feeds into that. And it may well be that you're on the cutting edge, but it may well be in 50 years' time, everyone will be like, yeah, obviously we go for an orgasm shot.
Obviously, I need some shots everywhere down there.
Yeah. Do you do? One of the people I chatted to at the conference, and I've got one here, is Scott Nelson, who owns the Juve company that does the infrared light and near infrared light. And I love it. And my girlfriend absolutely swears by it for her skin.
I love it for skin.
Do you really?
Mm-hmm.
So why does it work? Because I kind of think, even now, and I've spoken to him, I kind of think, is it working or am I just imagining it?
Yeah. Well, it is one of those kind of subtle things, I think for sure. But it's there's some good studies looking at low level light therapy and skin. It increases increases ATP production in the mitochondria, so you get better energy production. And we see improved skin. We see collagen production. It's kind of like a glowiness to the skin is what I see in myself and patients. And I actually use it as kind of my form of meditation. I go every day, not every day, but whenever I have time, I have a little one that wraps around my head that I go lay down in my room and turn on my ocean sounds, and then turn on my low level light therapy, and it's warm and cozy, and I feel like I'm doing good things for myself. But yeah, I mean there's some information out there about low level light therapy increasing nitric oxide production. So they have these whole body machines which are insane. It's good for joint pain and muscle
nitric oxide is good.
It is very good. Yes, it's really important. It's important. Nitric oxide is an anti-inflammatory. It's a chemical that your blood vessel linings release. Yeah. That it's important to open up your blood vessels and to keep the blood flowing. It does a lot of other things as well, but that's kind of like the main thing that we think of it as for. And as you get older, you make less and less and less. So every decade, you lose about 10% of your nitric oxide production. So you've kind of got this, as you get older, you have less ability to open up your blood vessels and have good blood flow. So it's really important for everything, for heart health, brain health, sexual health. It's huge. In fact, I have all my patients on supplements for nitric oxide production because that's a big part of that. So nitric oxide is really big, and light therapy seems to be one of the ways that we can increase it, along with many other things.
And nitric oxide supplements, I've never heard of them, and I'm a bit of a supplement geek. Is that something we all want to do, or just if you've got like a serious problem?
No, I think almost everyone could benefit from nitric oxide, especially if you're over the age of about 40, 30, 40, because you're not making as much at that point. A lot of the supplements that are out there are just sort of L-arginine, L-citrulline based, things that you find in your pre-workouts and such. And those can be helpful in younger people, but as you get to be over about 40, your blood vessel lining can't make the nitric oxide very well from those supplements. And so there are better forms, you want to get it in your diet, or you want to take a different supplement that works in a different way. I like Neo 40 a lot, which is Dr. Nathan Bryant's supplement that works really well. Or, diet, things like high beets and leafy vegetables, greens, spinach, kale. That's all great for nitric oxide too.
Okay, making a note of that. And in terms of light, is that what you use with your patients as well, the low level? Is there anything else in terms of light that you use with your patients?
That's the only thing that I use with them. And mostly with my patients, I only use them I'll use them after like an aesthetic treatment, like a laser treatment or something. We'll use the light therapy sometimes. I use it at home on myself a lot because it's something I kind of want to do it. You want to do it fairly frequently. It's more beneficial if you can do it a few times a week than it is if you can just do it, if you're just doing it once every 6 months. So I find that it's great to have it home versus, in an office space setting.
Do you get people, how many people are doing what you're doing? How many clinics and practitioners? Are you like the only one?
I'm not the only one. I do a whole bunch of stuff. And so the things that I do, I may be one of the only ones doing all of these things.
Yeah.
But certainly there are a lot of people who are doing the P shot or the O shot, or a lot of people who are doing the hormones, or a lot of people who are doing the aesthetics. So there's a lot of people doing pieces of what I'm doing. I've combined it together because I keep learning cool stuff and being like, oh my gosh, I need to do that too. And so then I just bring that into one of my offices and start doing it.
Great. And how do your clients know about it? Because are they all kind of very well informed and they say, right, I want a P shot, an O shot, and I want a bit of light therapy? Or do you say, actually, you could try this?
Both. The patient at my one clinic in Park City at Docere Clinics, where we do stem cells, most of the patients hear about us from other people, from Dave Asprey or other people, and come in from usually out of state, and they say, hey, we want this stem cell procedure X, Y, and Z. So they already know what they want. At my other office, patients may come in more with a complaint, like I've been feeling really tired and my skin is not doing well and I have low libido. What can you do for me? And then at that point, we can recommend a whole series of things depending on, what their problem is and what their goals are.
Yeah, that's really cool. And so, I was going to say, I bet a lot of people do come in from out of town, take a little holiday, get a little treatment on the first day. And then how long does it take to clear up if you get a vampire facial? A couple of weeks or something?
Oh, less than that. Usually it's just a couple of little bruises, if anything. Bruises and a little bit of redness. So, you can go put some sunscreen on and go skiing and you'll be fine.
Oh, good. What about moles? I've always been very moly. Is there anything, as I surely at some point, there will be something to get rid of moles or to reduce their intensity or frequency. But I've got moles all over my face. Can you get rid of them?
I don't know of anything specifically right now for that, except you could cut them off, of course, or burn them. But I don't know of any like preventative treatments out there yet. But I'm not a dermatologist, so maybe there's something fancy coming down the pike.
And is there anything that we haven't covered that you? I know we've talked about the nitric oxide boosters, and we've talked about testosterone and the gains wave therapy. Is there anything that we haven't spoken about that you're doing with your clients? I know you're doing the hormone stuff is quite interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, I do a lot of hormones. I do for men and women. For men, it's mostly testosterone, mostly in guys who are 35 plus years of age, although not always. Some of them are younger. For women, we do testosterone as well, which is something that a lot of people don't know, that women also need testosterone. It's not as much as men, obviously, but they need testosterone, as well as things like progesterone and estrogen. We do thyroid, which is really big for everyone, making sure that your thyroid levels are high. That's something that as you get older, your thyroid levels go down, and so you start to experience symptoms like weight gain and tiredness, fatigue, lack of motivation, dry skin, all of these kind of vague, ambiguous things that happen as you're getting older that you think is probably just part of normal aging. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's a hormone issue, and it could be thyroid or testosterone or estrogen or whatever.
Yeah. And I know from your Instagram recently that you were A-Fest, which is like this collection of incredible high achievers from every industry. And was it in the Caribbean somewhere?
It was in Jamaica. Yes, it was my first time, and it was pretty amazing. It was super fun. All these different, like you said, all these different high achievers from all over the world. You just meet people who are doing incredible things, and it's a great way to kind of make new friends and network, and there are great parties and good lectures as well.
Bet. And one of the reasons I wanted to ask you about it, I heard about it last year. I think it was in Ibiza last year, and it sounded amazing. Uh-huh. And one of the things I was interested about is you get some incredible names from different industries there, and I bet they were all fascinated to talk to you. In what sense do you get that kind of Silicon Valley high achievers, for example, are now using regenerative therapies like this to not only look better but kind of operate better physically and mentally? Is this something that's like growing in popularity all the time?
Oh yeah, definitely. This is definitely something that's already out there and is in that group, and people that I talk to in that world definitely know about it. A lot of them have already done the treatments, or at least kind of inquired about them. A lot of them were like, when can I come see you? What can you do for me? So there's a lot of interest from that group for sure.
Yeah. Oh, I bet there was. Yeah. How much does it cost to get stem cells or a vampire facial or get a pea shot or whatever it might be?
So the price is
just asking for a friend, that's all.
Right, I know. Never ask yourself.
It's definitely not for me, it's for my friend who would like to know.
I get a lot of that too. The prices vary. It depends, starting from about $1,000 and going up to several $1,000s, depending on what you're getting done. If you're just getting if you're just getting PRP, just taking some blood, then the price is going to be lower, of course, than if you're having to do a whole procedure and get the stem cells and the liposuction and all of that. So, but there is certainly some cost involved. And I think that these costs will continue to come down. I know that, like for the PRP, for instance, our main cost is the kits we use to make the PRP are pretty expensive. And so that the patient pays for that. But every day I'm getting new reps that are, inviting me to try out their kits that are less expensive. So I think that these costs will just keep coming down. I hope so, because I'd like to be able to see more people be able to use them.
Yeah, that's awesome. How exciting. How interesting that you've obviously got quite a passion for it as well. You're really interested in finding all this new stuff out, aren't you?
I love it. I love going to meetings and conferences and just talking to other doctors and researchers and all of these people, because there's so much cool stuff out there. And I just love being able to find it and then just bring it in immediately and give it a shot and see how effective it is with myself and my patients.
Well, one of the things that I've asked everyone on this podcast is, what is one book that you'd recommend and one tip for living with more energy and vitality and motivation? So kind of any book that's had an impact on you. It could be fiction or non-fiction. And then, one tip.
Oh my gosh, that's a tough question. I read a lot, and I'm trying to think of what I just have read. So I just read a book. This is a sexual health book, but I thought it was really good. It's Come As You Are by Emily Nagoski. That was a really good book for women about sexual health, and kind of a lot of important information about kind of accepting yourself as you are. You're beautiful and you're normal, and here's why. And so I really thought that was a great positive message, about sexual health and health in general that I loved. I read all kinds of other books as well, but that was my most recent recent find.
Sounds good. And then what about a tip for living with more energy, vitality, and motivation?
I think the biggest thing that I found recently that everyone always talks about is kind of the gratitude piece, and just making sure that you kind of go through your day and think, of all the things that make you happy, that make you feel grateful. I try to implement that with myself, and that helps a lot with stress. And I feel like that's really important for all of us.
That's great. Amy, I will be flying into Utah tomorrow morning, 9 a.m.
I will see you in my office. I will not be doing a pee shot on you because I'm sure you don't need it. But.
Thank you. Yes. No, it's been really good to talk. And I know people are going to love this. Where can people find out more about you and your clinic and everything that you're doing?
So I am on social media. I am Dr. Amy B. Killen on all the different media. And then I also have 2 clinics. I have Doceri Medical and I have BioRestoration Medical. So, I have websites for both of those.
Yeah. And I'll put the show links on as well and links to those places. Great to talk to you.
Yeah, you too. This has been so fun. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's been great. Thank you.
All right. I'll see you tomorrow in Utah.
Thanks very much to Dr. Amy, and if you enjoyed this episode of Zestology and you'd like to share it with someone else, you can click the little rectangle in the bottom right hand corner of the podcast app that you're listening on and just share it with someone. Simple as that. I think you can, certainly on iTunes and Overcast, you can share via WhatsApp and mail and all the rest of it, and maybe someone else who'd be interested in a vampire facial as well, or some of the anti-aging techniques that Amy has come up with. Thank you very much for listening. As always, one more thing, if you fancy being a part of the Zestology Book Club, because as you know, books are a theme on every podcast that I record, you can head to Facebook, Google Zestology Book Club, come and join us. And every book from the podcast is on there, so if you're ever stuck for something to read, then you can check it out. Right, it's a bit windy, so I'm going to go. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.